Let's begin. So this is my sample response to the gate prompt that you guys all should have done, which was the fish jumping out of the pond. So I'm going to break this down, annotate every part and give it a mark, which is what we'll do here at Everest when we give your child comprehensive marking of their work, which includes giving them good feedback, giving them a marking key, which we have created, which aligns with the gate marking key. And then this will help the child improve so that they can face their gate writing section at the perfect level. So let's begin. Immediately, it's always good in our annotations to label which part of the story is which. This is our orientation. Let's read it out. Finn had always been told that the pond was safe. The elders spoke of the dangers beyond the stone wall, the crashing wave, the creatures lurking in the abyss. But every day he felt the pull of the ocean, the whisper of something more. I think what's good about this orientation is that it has a strong hook. This strong hook, remember what a hook does, right? It's meant to capture the reader's attention. And then this hook immediately captures the reader's attention. It establishes a contrast between safety versus mystery, as the reader immediately thinks, what's outside of the pond? Why is the pond the only thing considered safe? What happens outside of it? Where could it be? Where can Finn go? Right? This contrast between safety and mystery engages the reader immediately. Then, the next thing I want to say is good is that it hints at the protagonist's internal conflict. Hints at the protagonist, and protagonist means the main character, at the protagonist's internal conflict. It hints at the internal conflict, which is desire versus fear. Finn desires something more. He feels the pull of the ocean. He feels a sense of magnetism. He wants to go to the ocean. He desires it, right? This is what this sentence means as well, right? The whisper of something more, it conjures develops an image of the ocean giving him promises, telling Finn that you can be more. We can have more fun in the ocean. We can do this. However, at the same time, there's a sense of fear, right? Finn hears about the elders speaking of the dangers beyond the stone wall. He hears about the creatures lurking in the abyss, but he still desires it. This desire versus the fear makes Finn a very constructed character, a very strong characterization when we can look into Finn's mind and see his internal conflict. This strong characterization is what is crucial to any good orientation. In the orientation, we have to have good characterization and good description of the setting. And here at Everest, we'll go through a comprehensive framework of how to characterize your characters, as well as how to describe your setting that you're in. Then the next thing I want to highlight is, in green, these phrases. This is strong descriptive language. It creates a sense of chaos. We think the ocean is chaotic. It's uncontrollable. It's brutal, right? And then we see creatures lurking in the abyss. It gives us a sense of fear, mystery, uncertainty, right? We see creatures lurking in the abyss. The abyss is dark. We can't even see what goes down there. And then as we know the creatures lurk in the abyss, it gives us a sense of fear, a sense of what's happening down there, and a sense of mystery. Then finally, I think what makes this such a good orientation is that there are themes of curiosity which are introduced subtly. Subtly means you don't explicitly say, which is what's happening. We don't explicitly say all these things such as, oh, in my story, we'll be going through the theme of curiosity. No, instead of telling it, we show it. This is the crux of all gate description. Show, don't tell. This, if you implement show, don't tell, that's how you go from a year 6 writing level all the way to a high school writing level, which will make you perfectly prepared for your gate writing exam. And here at Everest, show, don't tell is the crucible of all our teaching. This is what we teach the most. we try to religiously teach that you need to show, don't tell. And we go through exercises here so that your kids can have the best descriptive language possible. However, I think there's of course going to be improvements as well in my my orientation. I think the elders' warnings could have been more specific. It could have been more specific. It could have been more specific to build even stronger tension. For example, instead of the creatures lurking in the abyss, maybe I could reference a story or a legend of a fish who never returned. This makes it more specific. It creates a sense of stronger tension as we think, what happened to that fish that never returned? What if Finn is a similar fish? Then the next piece of feedback is this, the whisper of something more. In this whisper of something more, it's effective, but it could be made more vivid by adding sensory detail. Imagine I said, a whisper, soft as the tide retreating, always calling. Let me write that down. Soft as the tide retreating. This is a simile. And then we imagine this whisper as being softly whispered into our ears. This makes the ocean more enticing. It makes it more desired. We want to go listen to this whisper. We want to go listen to the ocean's promise, right? And then this sensory detail is what's also taught at Everest in the five senses. This and the show don't tell together make up so much descriptive language. And that's something at Everest we really try to teach our students. Then our next part of the story is this, the rising action. I'll read it out. One evening, as the golden sun melted into the horizon, Finn made his decision. He called his fins, took a deep breath, and leapt. For a fleeting moment he soared, the wind rushing past his scales. Then impact. The ocean swallowed him whole. The water was different here, stronger, alive. Currents tugged at him, unpredictable and wild. The silence of the pond was replaced by a symphony of the deep, the distant hum of unseen creatures, the rhythmic pulse of the wave. I think what's good here is immediately the leap is built up well. The leap is built up well, which creates a sense of anticipation. The leap is the main point of our story. This is the climax. This is what is the point of the story, right? It's the title, it's everything. It's in the prompt is the fish jumping out of the pond. In this, it's Finn jumping out of the pond going to the ocean. And then we describe it well. We hint at it. We create a sense of anticipation, right? We say that he took a deep breath. Let me leave green for highlighting descriptive language. He took a deep breath and left. The deep breath creates a sense of he's scared, but he's going to do it. He's going to push forward, he's going to leap. Then we could see that he soared. It really describes the leap. Then the next thing is vivid imagery. We have here the golden sun melting into the horizon. The golden sun melting into the horizon, it helps us see what Finn is seeing, which is exactly what markers are looking for. Gate markers are looking for students who describe well. The point of description is, imagine if the marker had his eyes closed, could they still understand your story with their eyes closed? Could they imagine all the settings in your story, all the characters, all the people, and how they interact with each other and how they interact with the environment? If yes, good job. That's exactly what the markers are looking for. If you're not at that descriptive language yet, descriptive level of language yet, always come to Everest. Here at Everest, we teach descriptive language as much as possible. Then, this vivid imagery, we have sight, and then the next thing we have is the wind rushing past the scales. We can feel the environment. We can feel the weather. We can feel the wind rushing past us like it's a very cold, windy day. Then finally, what makes it so strong, in my opinion, is these short sentences. These short sentences our syntax and rhythm, which is high school concepts. Well, we teach it here for our GATE students so that they can create these dramatic effects with these short sentences. For example, then impact. This short sentence creates a sense of, oh, all these long sentences, boring description, then impact out of nowhere. It immediately wakes up the reader. It immediately grabs their attention and draws it to our story. This then impact creates a large dramatic effect. However, of course, there are going to be areas of improvement. In our areas of improvement, we could have added a small hesitation before the leap. A small hesitation before the leap to emphasize his internal conflict. To emphasize internal conflict. Okay? If we had a small hesitation before the leap, it would make Finn more relatable of a character, as it shows Finn is indecisive. He hesitates before making big decisions. We all do that as well, right? But if we visualize Finn as being a superhero who never felt fear, never felt hesitation, never felt these basic human emotions, Finn isn't a very relatable character. Markers are looking for relatable characters, as in markers can think, oh, I've been through a similar experience or situation as the main character in the student story. This makes the marker give them more marks, as that's incredibly strong characterization when a student can make a character seem relatable to the audience. However, there are going to be some areas of improvement, which are the internal conflict. Then we have our next point of the story, which is the most important, our climax. The climax is the peak of tension and excitement. It is the peak of our story. I'll read it out. Panic clawed at him. Had he made a mistake? A shadow moved beneath him, sleek, powerful. Finn froze. You're new, the creature murmured, circling. Finn hesitated. I came from the pond. A pause. Then laughter. Not cruel, but knowing. Brave. Finn exhaled, his fear ebbing away. The pond had been safe, but it had also been small. The ocean was vast, uncertain, but full of possibility. So immediately, let's look at this. This creates a sense of. This creates a sense of characterization. Finn feels basic human emotions. Finn feels panic. Finn feels indecisiveness. He feels regret. This makes Finn even stronger of a character, as we, the audience, can relate to Finn at an even higher degree. Then the next thing I would like is we hint at the monster before meeting him. By hinting at the monster, it creates a sense of anticipation and fear. We see a big monster shadow, but we don't see the monster. This makes the audience feel a greater degree of fear. Then we describe him. Sleek, powerful. Then we describe Finn freezing up. You're new, the creature murmured, circling. This is the peak of our excitement in our story. The creature is right here. The monster of the deep is right here, circling around our main character, Finn. We're worried for Finn. We're thinking, who is this monster? Will Finn be okay? All these thoughts make this point the most exciting point of the story. Then Finn hesitated, again building up our characterization. I came from the pond. A pause, then laughter. Not cruel, but knowing. Brave, Finn exhaled, his fear ebbing away. The pond had been safe, but it had also been small. The ocean was vast, uncertain but full of possibility. This, I would say, is an excellent shift of tone. Shift of tone. It feels intimidating, but at the same time overwhelming. We see all of this intimidation. We see the ocean swallowing us whole. We see the silence of the pond replaced by a symphony of the deep. the distant hum of unseen creatures creating a sense of fear, the rhythmic pulse of the waves. We can hear the ocean, we can feel the ocean. It's intimidating. We see all these creatures of the deep. We see shadows moving beneath us, creatures circling around us. This shift of tone makes the reader feel like they're in Finn's boots, they're in Finn's shoes. Then, the next thing I would like to point out is the great use of contrast. We no longer have a quiet pond. The pond had been safe, but it's small. Now we have this chaotic, vast, uncertain, scary ocean that's also full of possibility. Then finally, I would like to point out rhythm. This is a high school concept, but again, we teach it for our GATE students as this sentence length variation creates this. Some sentences are really long, some are very short and sweet. This creates a sense of you're confused. Why are some sentences long but some sentences are short? This draws emphasis to our short sentences, making it more suspenseful. Then finally, of course, we'll have some areas of improvement. I think that sometimes it is too telling, not showing. Finn hesitating is too telling, not showing. We need to say it, we need to describe it without it being explicit. And then finally, the moment of panic is brief. The moment of panic is brief. I feel like it could be slightly extended to intensify his doubt. For example, the currents tossed him like a fallen leaf. He tried to steady himself, but the ocean did not care. Then we have our final part is the resolution. The final part we have is our resolution. I'll read it out. Finn exhaled, his fear ebbing away like a tide retreating from the shore. He glanced back, half expecting to see the familiar stone wall, the pond's still waters calling him home, but it was gone, lost to the vastness of the ocean. The creatures watched him with unreadable eyes. You can turn back, it said, its voice low, steady. Finn hesitated. The pond had been safe, predictable. He had known every rock, every ripple. Here he knew nothing, but maybe that was the point. With a steady flick of his tail, he pushed forward. The currents no longer felt hostile, but exhilarating. The ocean was not a place to fear, it was a place to explore, and so he swam, not looking back. First off, I think there's powerful imagery. We have fear ebbing away like a tide retreating. This is, you guys should call it out at home, go tell your parents. It's simile. This simile ties into the ocean theme. We see the ocean, the waves coming back and forth. We imagine like the fear going away, like when you're at the beach and you see the ocean slowly push back into itself. Then, the next thing I want to show is Finn's hesitation makes it more meaningful. Makes the decision he makes more meaningful. He hesitates, right? This, again, like I said, this makes Finn seem like a more relatable character. But then, even in the end, he overcomes his fear. He stays in the ocean. And then the fact that he hesitates so much gives us an insight to how much fear Finn feels. This makes his decision so much more impactful as we know how much he had to overcome to feel this way, to feel the sense of he can do anything, he's going to stay in the ocean. Then finally, what makes this such a good ending is that the ending is hopeful. The ending is hopeful and satisfying. He actively chooses to move forward. And then here's a little secret. Markers hate reading sad endings. It makes them feel sad, makes them feel bad, which makes them more easier and more in a mood to take away marks from your student. And then if you're the kid, it makes them easier for them to take marks from you. So the secret is have hopeful and happy endings. But that doesn't mean you end with it was all a dream. You don't say something like that. You say these kind of things. He swam back. He swam, not looking back. He does not think the ocean is a place to fear anymore. The currents no longer felt hostile. This makes us feel happy for Finn. Finn overcame his fear. Now he's pushing forward, and likewise, we can do the same thing. However, of course, I think there are some areas of improvement. I think the final words could have been more profound. And he could have had a large and strong, he could have had a stronger visual impact to leave, sorry, stronger visual punch to leave a lasting impact. Instead of saying he swam, not looking back, we could have said he swam into the unknown, where the water shimmered with endless possibility. I write it out. He swam into the unknown, where the water shimmered with endless possibility. This stronger visual punch gives us this sense of we can really feel how impactful it is that Finn kept going, right? However, of course, there are moments where I think it could have been more telling, not showing, like Finn hesitating. But overall, I feel like this conclusion is very strong because it has powerful imagery and the ending is hopeful and satisfying. The best endings in the gate writing are endings which you can relate to. If you see someone overcome adversity, they overcome fear, they overcome big problems, you believe you can do the same, which is what the marker is looking for. Work that inspires others. Then I'll mark it myself. I think I would have gotten an 18 out of 20 for creativity and engagement with the prompt. As our prompt was talking about risk, it was talking about the fish jumping out of the water. I created a story of Finn overcoming the sense of fear, uncertainty when going through risk, and going ultimately becoming better. Structure, I would give myself 15 out of 15. I had all aspects of the story and the narrative flow I think was really good. It did a randomly breakup, and I also used I used varying sentences so that it feels more rhythmic. We feel more emphasized and more interested in the story. Then finally, my expression and style, I'll give a 14 out of 15. I feel like my description was very good. It's just at some points we could have done more telling instead of showing. Then overall, that gives me a score of 47 out of 50, which is 94%. Here at Everest, see how we annotated so much? We will go through this marking for your kids so that they can do even better than I can, so that they can face their gate writing section at the best of their abilities. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys. Hopefully you guys watch the other gate walkthrough videos. Goodbye for now.